Good afternoon, everybody. Distinguished faculty, participants, all the participants that are present for today's webinar. A very warm welcome to all our panelists. Thank you very much for taking time out and uh, being on the panel today. Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge, TASK as we call it, is the government of Telangana's initiative to skill students, primarily with the objective of reducing unemployment as well as underemployment. We also work towards ensuring that the industry is able to get quality human resource from the state itself. So we work with colleges and with students and train students in a wide range of skills, both technical and non-technical. As part of our initiatives, especially considering the pandemic situations that we are facing these days, and also considering the amount of speculations and rumors that are going on about the employment scenario itself, how are jobs going to change? How is the pandemic going to affect the industry? Are freshers going to get jobs this year or not? What are the industries that are taking up who are hiring and recruiting? So lots of questions in the minds of students, especially the students passing out now, and also in the minds of students who are going to pass out next year. So, in order to bring more clarity to the minds of students and also to help colleges rework their curriculum probably to help prepare students better for the industry, we have started the Career Talk series. This is the 12th webinar in the series on hospitality sector. Previously, we have done on different sectors, including IT, manufacturing, aerospace, pharma, and others. I hope that this webinar will help you understand what does the hospitality sector to offer for the students who are going to graduate this year and how students can prepare themselves for employment in this industry. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. Shikha, to you.
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon, and welcome to all the students from different colleges.
Can't hear you, Mr. Sinha.
Okay, instead of unmuting, I had muted myself. Sorry,
Okay,
thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you about that. That happens. Um, Good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to all the students, the principals, the faculty members, the training and placement officers from all the colleges. Good afternoon to all the panelists who have taken out time from their busy schedule to be present amongst here in the interest of the youth of Ghana, as well as welcome to all the invitees who are attending this webinar today. We're indeed fortunate, as well as you know, the circumstances. If we treat the circumstance that is happening today an opportunity, then I think it should be, we should let it go, and that's where I think the students also start looking at and ensure that they are able to make this opportunity. Today we are talking about home today economy. We are talking about shock to loyalty. We are talking about a contact-free economy, and how does the hospitality industry actually figure out? And of course, if we look at the newspapers, etc., tourism, hospitality are the industries which have taken the biggest beating. But how is the industry itself looking at it, and what are the future plans of the industry? We have our esteemed panel with us today to tell us about this. And not only this, also, they are going to throw a lot of light on what are the skills required for the future. How should the students skill themselves to be part of this industry? So a very warm welcome to all our panelists, and let me start by introducing them. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Sarita Reddy, Director of Gayatri Hotels, and they have got the Park Hyatt Hotel over here. She's the director in this iconic 700 crore plus hotel which has been developed over here in Hyderabad. She is also the managing director for Gayatri Sugars. She has served as the president of Telangana Sugar Mills Association, TESMA, for last 10 years, and also been with Indian Sugar Mills Association. She has received the Industry Excellence Award by Sugar Technology Association of India in 2017 itself. active member of global professional organization called YPO, WPO, and a managing trustee of a NGO called HELP. She is also the chairperson for FICCI Ladies Organization for 2014-15, and she is also a part of the group of the CII Skills panel too. And one thing which is not much known about her is that she is also the author of this coffee table book called Tirumala Tirupati, which is the first book which has actually defined the temple for everyone. So welcome, Sarita Garu. Moving on to Mr. T.K. Murthy, Director Operations, Clarkson Group of Hotels. He's a professional with over 28 plus years into the hospitality industry itself from across the globe. He has had various stints in different parts of the Middle East also. He is extensive and multi-skilled hospitality professional with industry experience right from operations management. Shruti, can I request you to please change the slides? And management and sales, marketing, training, and diverse experiences as a chief operating officer, executive director, general manager, and F&B manager. As I said, 20 plus years, out of which 20 years is a profit center. He has also done his certified hotel administrator diploma from the LA, USA. He's also a fellow of the Institute of Hospitality and an associate member of CIPD, UK. Welcome, Mr. Murthy. Next, moving on to Mr. Satyam, Director, Talent and Culture, Novotel Airport. Previously, he was the Human Resources Manager for Novotel Hyderabad Convention Center, NHCC, which is run by the Accor Group. He has been serving Novotel Hyderabad Accor Group for over 12 years. Previously worked at Hyderabad International Convention Center, which is HICC, as the Deputy Manager, and was also the Deputy Manager at Ramada. Awarded with the Most Influential Leaders in Service and Hospitality Industry and Accor Hotels Excellence Award in the year 2016. So welcome, Satyam. Moving on to Mr. Vivek Pandit, Chief Operating Officer of Generation India Foundation, which is a not-for-profit entity that operates in the skilling space. He has been involved in multiple expansion of this network across 14 states in association with NSDC and its training partners to improve process and outcomes. The launch of an online upskilling program partnership with state government like Telangana, HP, Odisha, etc. Previously working with Centum Work Skills India Limited as Head Skills and Senior Vice President, ILFS, as well as National Head and Vice President of Operation. He has done his postgrad degree from MDI Gurgaon and has a bachelor's degree in so the right person for the program again. Welcome, Vivek. Moving on to the other lady on the panel, Ms. Ramya, Marketing Manager, Drunken Monkey. Skilled in digital marketing, content development, strategizing campaigns, web design, management, Adobe Photoshop designing and advertising. Previously, she freelanced as a creative and marketing consultant for companies like 3DM Agency, Ubergrad, Marketing to Minds, MTM Group, and Marksman Advertising. She holds a master's degree in communication design from the National Institute of Creative Communication and Mass Communication, Media Studies from Bharatiya University, and a bachelor's degree in animation from Loyola Academy. Last but not the least, Mr. Bhanu Naidu, Managing Partner of ECME, India Engineering Technologies Private Limited, currently the Managing Partner at ECME, India Engineering Technologies, over 25 years of industry experience providing complete HVAC, air conditioning, manufacturing, and refrigeration solutions, including sales and service for domestic and commercial applications. An electronics and electrical engineer, he has worked with major companies, starting his own venture. Currently, he's the president of the chapter Grand Business Network International. So, as you can see, we have a very diverse and a very unique panel with us today. So, without wasting any further time, I'll probably start with my speakers itself first. So, Sarita Garu, I would like you to, talk about how hospitality industry has been impacted by COVID, and if you could do some crystal ball gazing and tell us what do you think is the future of this industry. Over to you, madam.
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for all the panelists and thank you, Shrikant Garu, for having me on this panel. And I hope we'll be able to throw some light and show some direction to all the students who are also on this webinar. I think the hospitality sector is actually the worst hit. This and the airline sector are the worst hit with this pandemic. People are scared to travel. People are scared to go to new places. And I think in fact, if you ask me, the hospitality sector was one of the biggest sectors which were giving employment at every level, right when where you start from the GMs to the front office to the people at housekeeping. And actually, housekeeping was a very, very good platform, even for uh, the youngsters who are coming, who are educated, who are coming from villages and into the cities and getting into a good job where a good job security and moving up the ladder, because all of them are very, very bright. I would like to really say that the youth of our country are the brightest young minds and the most hardworking. In fact, I think wherever Indians go, our young Indians go anywhere in the world, I think they make a huge impact. And I would like to say that, with this sector having such a huge challenge right now, and with nobody, it's like really sad because in our own hotel, we had to do laying off of so many of the labor because, and so many of the people, right from the top level till down, we used to employ more than 700 people in our hotel right now. And right after March, April, and May, after this whole pandemic has broken out, we have not even less. We have less than 120 people right now in our hotel, and it really pains me to see that we had to get rid of. I mean, leave so many nice youngsters who had got a good education, who had come here, who are hardworking. I'm seeing this sector is going to be a little bit, it's going to take a little while for it to bounce back. If you'd ask me, I would say it may even take 1 year to 2 years for people to travel. Of course, within India, I think still people may travel on work. Now, again, when you talk about a hospitality and when you talk about a hotel industry, people have to come and stay overnight. For that, people have to really be a lot more confident about where they are going. And good hotels, I mean if they are 3 star, 4 star, 5 star and luxury hotels, will take every precaution which government has put. And obviously they will do sanitization and hygiene, and how they are to be served and all that with social distancing. They will take the utmost care. And I think youngsters who are coming for employment now have to completely upskill, have multi skilled, because even in our hotel, when we are thinking of who to hire, how to hire, and who to let go of, we are thinking of people who can fit into two, three roles, or at least two roles, so that, I mean, they can be retained and maybe they can even get a much better salary than they were getting before if they are doing the job of two people. Like somebody who's in marketing can also be in like front office. Somebody who's looking after the F&B can also be taking care of whether it is the restaurants, whether it is the staff canteen, whether it's, so earlier we used to have one person for each of these roles. So I think if people coming to the hospitality, it also has to be a lot of communication, because in a hotel, whether it's a hotel or in a hospital, I think it's communication, the way you present yourself, the way you welcome guests, the way you're personable in your, it's not just education, it goes beyond education. So I think, and that I think Indians and us South Indians and all of us right here, I think are very warm as people. I think when you're in a hospitality sector, it's a smile which you give when people enter the hotel. It's the way, I mean, when they look at a person when they're entering, it has to be somebody who's very welcoming, and not just like I mentioned, education, not just theory, it's more of practical knowledge. And we were taking a lot of interns earlier also, and we were encouraging because we do have a lot of hotel management colleges over here, and a lot of young students were coming to us. In fact, 2 3 times there were students from other universities also coming after they finished their courses. They were coming to have like a field trip to see how a hotel is run, and staying one whole day in the hotel to see what is the role from morning to evening. And then those people had applied. It was actually doing fantastically. And I think, with the Hyderabad being the IT hub, the pharma hub, and I think our government has done a lot to encourage all these different industries over here. I think government has played a very, very huge role. And I think now it's come to a standstill. I would say it's still a very temporary standstill, because once this COVID, when the vaccine is, I mean, once it's out there and it's going to be available to everybody, and not just, I mean, a few select few, but if everybody can be able to take it, I think then there'll be a lot more confidence and it'll bounce back. And obviously, and I think another big decision with the government has made is taking the skilled labor from within the state. I think that is fantastic. I think that is actually the way any business or any industry should be run. In that way, I think it not just encourages the students and the children of the state to remain in the state, it encourages even people like us who are in different, we are not just in hospitality and hotel sector. We have sugar mills, we have a construction, we have even water projects. We are in a host of other, our whole company profile, the Gayatri Group, is in many, many different fields. And we are very happy, and we would love to encourage the students over here, and we would love to use the platform the government has given, where we engage only local people. In fact, I run even 2 sugar factories, which is in interior of Telangana, and I could definitely very proudly say 100% of the staff are from Telangana and the nearby villages itself. We had acquired the land for the factory purpose, and we had given everybody employment there. And I think because of this pandemic coming, nobody moved away and went back to hometowns. Not one single person moved out of place. And I think that's a very fantastic way to go forward. And I think with the state having such a good governorship, people at the head of the helm of affairs, and with Mr. Shrikant itself in charge of this whole, skilling and all of that. I think just give it another 1 year. I think everything will bounce back in the hospitality sector. And sir, I would definitely like you to direct anybody in hospitality sector and hotel sector. Please do convey to us. We would be, because I'm sure, once little confidence comes back, I think as nature, all of us are very brave and we would like to travel. We are all very, very, hardworking people. So I think the industry will bounce back. I'm looking forward to it bouncing back very soon and employing all the people back again from our very own state, from our very own colleges, and encouraging our state. So if there's any other questions, I will definitely answer. If not, I would like to give time for the other panelists also. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Sarita Garu. Well said. I think, yes, the industry would definitely bounce back and do that. I've just been told that there are about 200 plus participants who are attending this webinar right now. When we started, probably we'll keep on getting updates as we keep on continuing. I would request all the participants, you would be having a lot of questions in your mind. So please type your questions in the question box itself, so that once our discussions are over, we can take up your questions also. So moving on to you, Mr. Murthy, in case you can, tell us on your, group of hotels, and what is the future that you see for this industry? Unmute, please. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shrikant, for the invite, and it's a great pleasure to be in this forum. Now, just to let you know, I work for Clarkson Group of Hotels, which is a hotel management company. We manage we have got about 75 hotels operational at the moment all over India, and 1 hotel in Nepal. We have signed total 100 properties. Others are yet to open. Now, as we all know, the COVID-19 has affected every sector across the globe.
Correct.
And hotel industry is among the hardest hit. We can feel the heat. Now, To give you a little background, as we all know, the COVID 19 started somewhere in December from China. Now, in the month of February onwards, we started getting the feel. There were major, like for example, our entire group participates in all the major exhibitions all over the world. I think in March it was 8 to 10. We had the ITB Berlin, which is one of the largest hospitality exhibition, hotel exhibition, International Travel Bureau, that got cancelled. That was the first thing that got cancelled in the last minute. We make arrangements for it almost about 6 months before. We do the booking. We have B2B bookings, and every arrangement is done. That was the first step. It got cancelled. The second exhibition, the second largest exhibition, which is WTM in London, World Travel Market, which is in the coming November, is also cancelled. Similarly, many exhibitions, travel exhibitions, leading travel exhibitions in India, SATE, TTF, most of them stands cancelled as of now. Now, the lockdown was announced somewhere in March, but we could get the feel cancellation of booking, cancellation of social gatherings, corporate functions, people stopped traveling. So we could feel the pinch, feel the heat right from the month of February or March beginning. Of course, March 23rd or 24th onwards, everything was shut down. And after a few months, some of the states had relaxed the lockdown, but yet the hotels really did not take off. We opened about 16 hotels in different cities, in different states, wherever the lockdown was lifted. But unfortunately, the business really did not take off for many reasons. The flights were not flying, be it domestic or international. The trains were not moving. The regular trains were not moving. Of course, no local commuting. So there was no business. People were not coming. Lot of wedding functions, the wedding dates in all the hotels is booked probably 2 years before or at least a year before. And everything got cancelled. Even after the lockdown was lifted, there were a lot of restrictions, like a restaurant cannot take more than 30% of the total strength. The gatherings cannot have more than 50 people. Of course, we know the SOP set for the social distancing. So the fear factor in the people was there. The corporates were not traveling, social function was not happening. So basically, there was no business at all. So ultimately, what happened is all this is passed on to the complete staff, management. As my colleague just mentioned, we, against our wishes, we had to lay off many staff. A lot of staff had to go on leave without pay indefinitely. So I must tell you, as of now, the things are really bad. The impact is really very high, and we only hope things come back to normal. But as we see, it's going to take some time. I personally feel nothing should happen before the next financial year, and that too, even 2021, 21, 22 will not be a big boom. We are all, the industry pundits are predicting about 35% occupancy in the next financial year against 70-75% in the previous years. It also depends on the regulations, the directions we are going to get from the government, the social functions, what is the people we can accept. So there are a lot of things we are waiting to hear. Lot of staff, lot of internship trainees, all had to be laid off. And let us hope in the coming time things will improve. Of course, it has to improve. People have to travel, the social function to happen, and definitely the things will come back to normal, but it's a matter of time. The fear factor in people is still there. People are not traveling. Also, there are timings for the curfew. For example, in the restaurant in Punjab and other cities, we cannot open the restaurant at 9 o'clock. Now, in real terms, the real business starts in India after 8:30 in the restaurant. So it has been a big hit. We all have to face it. We are only hoping that things will come back to normal in a year's time, and it's just a matter of pressing the restart button. That I personally feel.
Thank
I'm
you.
not-
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Murthy. I think again, you're talking about a 6 months time frame. Sarita Garu said a year's time frame. Things would be normal. So let me move on to the third hotelier who is there on this, and of course the HR and a talent culture also person also. So Satyam, how has it impacted your hotel, and if you could do some crystal ball gazing?
Hi. Very good evening. Thank you, Srikanth Garu, for your introduction and other families and the principals, vice principals, and students across Hyderabad who is attending this program. Uh, yes, it is, as Sarita Garu and Murthy Garu very clearly mentioned that the hospitality industry badly which will never happen. So I have 24 years of experience in the industry across all the departments and as a renowned in training therapy, human resources, we support called as talent and development, talent and culture. So here in Accor property, I belong from Accor. Accor, we have 4,500 hotels across globally, and we have 53 hotels in India. I am from Hyderabad, and we have many hotels in Hyderabad, 5 hotels in Hyderabad, and every nook and corner we have hotels. So never it happened in the history of the hotels that how badly we did. We are airport attached. We are partnered with the GMR Hospitality and Retail Limited, and the kind of occupancy what we have, it is never before. Uh, I think there is just some disturbance somewhere. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me, Srikanth?
not very clear.
Not very clear. There is some disturbance in between.
There are a lot of disturbances.
Not from my side. I think somewhere it is not unmuted.
Okay.
Can I request everyone to keep on mute apart from Mr. Satyam? Thank you.
Yeah. So, across India, we all aware there are about 10 lakh crores of business loss from across all hotels in India. And especially when it comes to Hyderabad or maybe any other hotels, we are doing only 10% of what is expected to do in this 2020. There is some disturbance again. Okay. So when it comes to the where the problem actually it happens, and we have to think what went wrong, what needs to be fixed, how it needs to be fixed. So I'm sure none of faculty members or maybe the management team are exposed to this kind of a pandemic situation really and ever. And this is what we have to experience. And it is a new experience for all of us. That's reason it is called as a new normal. And yes, being in a hospitality industry, as Ma'am Saita clearly mentioned, that we have to, being a South India, we have to take care of all the formalities and we have to have this kind of hospitality gesture across from the time check-in and then from the check off. So it is not normal what we used to do it and then what we are doing now from the time of check-in and check-out. From like the basic need of a smile, we have to showcase our smile behind this mask, and we have to have a contactless check-in and then contactless check-out, and we have to have a room cleaning which is to be which is safe and having all the precautions in place. So the government of Telangana have taken a lot of initiative in making the SOPs very clear, and every hotel, every division and every industry have their own SOPs, and then they have actually made it very clear for hotel industry what to follow and what not to follow and how to process. And they also made it very clear of the facilities what we have to extend to the customers. And it is not like earlier we have to open for all the facilities what we have, but we have to have a lot of restrictions, in kind of from a check-in and then social distancing, having the safety measures in place, swimming pool allowed or not allowed, and gym, spa, these are facilities we are not into the game that we have to start immediately. So face, we are getting the exemption, and then we are started doing it. But the kind of occupancy we used to have about 80% earlier, now we are living up to 15% now. But as a few panelists already spoken about, very important skills what we are expecting to have the team to have is multi-skill, and then great attitude and the confidence on them. This is very important for the team to have for the next generation of next version of our hospitality industry. Mostly, people have to have the tech savvy because everything is going to be contactless, and they have to have the knowledge on the softwares, and then the check-in check-out process through the contactless, and then from the time they get down in the airport, they will have to do a check-in in the during the transfer, and by the time they come here, we have to have the keys ready for them. Earlier, it used to be on a paper and pen, and then they have to do all the formalities. So we are developing such a software where they can have the contactless check-in and check-out, and that is very important. And we all have this. Accor have initiated globally all safe measures. In all safe measures, every hotel have to undergo all the safety 100% measures, and wherein the committee members, the senior management from the Accor will have to certify every hotel. And it is not that easy for us to get certified. We have to have all safety measures in place from the main gate till the check-in, and then till the time to check out. So that's very important. As one of the panelists very clearly mentioned, yes, it is not possible to have all the manpower in place because the revenue what we are generating is 10% of what is expected. And there are layoffs, there are retrenchments, and there are pay cuts, there are rest and recuperation leaves, and there are so many methods being followed. But in Accor across India, we have 5 baskets, which is we have not laid out directly, except for the non-confirmed employees. But rest all they are there in the unrolled list, but they are not working. For example, we have about 400 employees here. We are working with only 130 employees are working. But other employees, what we have done, there are called free leave without pay concept. People allowed to work with 30% pay cut. They have to work only 20 days, or probably twice or thrice a week if required. And the other one, work from home. The possibility of a few departments to work from home, yes, we allowed that. And then we have rest and recuperation leave. There are people, it's like a long leave, but they sit at home. They went their hometown. They're allowed to do the part times. They're allowed to do some the agriculture. They're allowed to do sit with the family and then take care of the family business. But they will be getting 30% of the pay. That is one kind of a baskets out of 5 baskets. And then another basket is like bad days. Wherever there are employees who have the bad disciplinary actions, they are not good in their performance in the last few years, and they have a lot of disciplinary actions taken across. Few of them, we got to give some kind of a package like 2 months or 3 months pay, and then we have to ask them to retrenchment, kind of a retrenchment. But of course, we have not taken the last basket, but we are living up to these 3 and 4. Making them to sit at home. And of course, all brands have taken different initiatives, like even international brands or standalone brands, kind of a retrenchment, payroll cost, 0 pay, no work, no pay. And also to sustain the team members, they have come up with a very innovative methods, and some companies started some innovative methods, and also they have started renovation, which is, if it is wrong, for example, our Noida Hyderabad airport, we are long due for a renovation. So during this next 1 month, or 1 year, 1.5 years, we will definitely going to have this kit. So in this time, we are planning to have the renovation done for complete the hotel. So there are part-time, there are work from home, and these are the few things which we have taken up. And then few people who are sitting at home, we are not leaving them without an engagement. We are conducting a lot of trainings to them, sitting at home, the virtual trainings, everyday virtual meetings, every day the learning sessions, the health related topics, and then the doctors on advice. the general managers talking to them, and we have the town halls virtually, and we are engaging them at least one in a day, and we are not making them to away from their work time. Otherwise, they're going to be a saturation. So this is because we don't have a payroll capacity, and we are trying to engage the team in across all the areas and making them to work well. So once the situation is back to normal, probably after 6 months, we hope it be not 100%. At least we are expecting to have 50% or 40% of the business. Then we will try slowly. We are going to take back our team members who were working with us. So these are the precautions we have taken, and then we are crossing our fingers to come back the same situation across all accord. And if you're going to hire after 1 year or probably after 6 months, that timing we freezed our recruitment. If you're going to hire back, so for sure we are going to hire the first priority whom we asked to leave, and second, the internal transfers from across other hotels India or from the abroad, other countries across accord. So these are the precautions we have taken at present, and thank you all the panelists. And if any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Sure. Thank you, Satyam Garu. That's helpful, and knowing, yes. In fact, all of us understand and understand the pain that all of you would have had to undergo, while letting some of your most reliable and some of your most trusted people go and others. So moving on to you, because yours is a different kind of a setup. Has COVID also impacted your kind of a setup, and what do you think is the future for your kind of a setup?
So, Srikanth Garu?
Ramya?
The question is for me?
No, that's for Ramya.
Ramya, okay.
Ramya, if you could unmute yourself and...
Hi, Srikanth. I'm sorry. Can you come again with the question, please?
Yeah, the question is that, for the hotels we have understood, but how has it been for your kind of a setup, and what is the future for that post-COVID?
Right. So, given we are a restaurant chain, so basically Drunken Monkey is a smoothie bar chain, and we are across in Pan-India with over about 70 outlets. And of course, like hotels, we have been also affected tremendously with this whole COVID situation, but of course not as much as how the hotel industry has been with. The major things that we have dealt with is the cafes running in losses. More than, so basically we have a corporate setup, and then we have also a franchisee based out company. So we have a lot of franchisee partners who are tied up with us. And given the situation, what we have currently done with all of these guys is to help out our franchisees. We have asked them to move out from bigger spaces, cafes, to smaller spaces. That way they can levy on the rental part of it. And also staff requirements from 8 to 10 has been cut down again to say about 2 or 4. And like Sarita Garu was speaking, we would probably look into having employees who can do multitask with 1 or 2 roles together, and that's the same thing that we have adapted as well. And so we have probably gotten our employees to do multitask with the job roles that they have been given, and that's how we have been running. And also, given situation, there is no in-store sales, absolutely. So what we are doing right now is the only way of mode of any kind of income that the restaurants are getting are through Swiggies and Zomatos. And also because of the given current situation, that is also cut down by absolutely 20%, because people don't want to order outside anymore because of the COVID situation, and they're too scared yet to be ordering. But yeah, so from 100, we are at 20 right now. So we get about 20% of sales that we averagely do in general. But at the same time, though we talk about products and immunity and all of that, I think it'll take about a couple of more months for the people to get used to starting to order outside again before they get back to their normal lives. And apart from that, the major thing is that also, since everybody is working from home and all of that, they have enough time to be cooking at home and stuff. So they don't really think about ordering outside more anymore. Like otherwise, when you are at a workplace, you just think, you want to just order something and then keep eating when you're at work. But that isn't the case anymore. Yeah, so on an average, it's hit us badly, but it's kind of stabilized. With we took the chance of adapting quickly to whatever has been happened to us. So it was all about adapting to the agility that's been around, and rather than instead of us waiting to see what needs to be done. Because I think it was just in this Jan that we launched a new product, which was called Smoothie Bowls, and we were supposed to take it full fledged in the month of March, because as a smoothie chain, we make most of our sales in the months of March to say June, because that's the summer period, and that's when all of them the major sales happen. And we were exactly hit in the month of March, and so yeah, but we're still coping, I guess.
Wonderful. Good. Now, moving on to you, Mr. Naidu, in case you can help us understand how the HVAC industry has been impacted. What do you think is the future? Because as everyone said, industry is going to come up pretty soon, maybe a couple of months, but yes. Yeah, yeah.
Audible?
Yes.
Yeah, when it comes to the HVAC industry, like you being all the hoteliers and all the panelists are the hoteliers, mainly like the hospitality industries. I would like to say one thing. Apart from the aesthetics and the interiors and the comfort zone which you have, if the environment is not healthy, the environment is not comfortable, the guests will not want to stay there. So HVAC plays a major role in any industry, whether it is a hospitality industry or any name any industry. So HVAC has got a prominent value with any industry which is today. Like any
Right.
other business, even HVAC industry also has been affected badly due to the pandemic situation and post lockdown and before lockdown, that we have been totally lean on cash flows and we've been totally lost the business because most of the HVAC agencies or the dealers or the manufacturing companies, they have the most revenue source which is coming from the main season, which was the biggest hit for this year. But aside from the challenges that including providing customers with safety guarantees and precautionary measures and installation, rebooting the systems after the post lockdown was the biggest challenge for us because of a lot of sanitization and air purification methods which are not adopted by a lot of people because due to maybe they are not aware about what has to be done in sanitization or air purification methods because of lack of knowledge or maybe the lack of training which the maintenance staff in your industry has got. COVID-19 as a pandemic has led to a worldwide disaster, led to major effects, basically tourism and hospitality industries. If you talk about it, has been a downturn, it has been badly hit. And maybe you would have encountered a lot of reservations getting cancelled of the bookings. And you always had some situation where, you were in a panic, what is going to be there and when are you going to bounce back? So all these situations also does, mainly our bread and butter is on the maintenance of the air conditioning. Selling an air conditioning is never profitable. But maintaining an air conditioning whether it's an annual maintenance or whether there's an on-site charges, it's going to be a main burden, but it is going to be a profit for us. That has been hit for us. So we could not be able to get from that. So we have taken a lead. We have taken a lead. We started educating. We started training. We've taken measures to maintain a regular work style from the remote locations. Then some of our initiative includes giving of extended warranty of terms like warranty in terms once you're in AMC, it's as good as a warranty. AMC has to be extended. Customer service team has been extended a support to the remote locations through, I mean, maybe through, by online training or talking to the client through the video calls or, looking at the situation. Reaching out to the places also was a problem because a lot of service technicians were not being allowed to move out freely until unless it was an emergency case to hospital industry. Basically to hospital, not for any other industry. We had a tough time, even the technicians out in this situation was also a tough time for us. So we had challenges. We had to give them training online. We have to give them, how to handle it, especially the maintenance staff, like whether the hotel is running or not. Because if the plant is running and if you don't have an occupancy, then you are running at a cost. Until there's a 40% occupancy is not there for you. I mean, your plant is running at a cost for you. That's a major hit for you also. And you can't keep the plant idle. You have to make the plant running all the time. So we have done all these measures, giving them online, teaching the staff online, and helping them basic troubleshooting parameters, like what has to be done in case. So we have done these sessions. And though we appreciate and believe in the actions taken by the government of India, the process of temperature checkup and wearing a mask is not going to increase the confidence level required by your guest at hotel to stay. Today, the hospitality industry needs to provide a clean and hygienic premises and rooms which can eliminate a chance of infection due to virus, bacteria, and pathogens which are there, which could be clean. We as HVAC industry can provide the hotel industries and train the people to have extra filters to maintain a clean air. Filters like, you have HEPA filters which can absorb microns to 0.035 thing. All these filters and all these cleaning of those air distribution ducts through a robotic system of cleaning devices, where a lot of bacteria and viruses would have been already settled down. These are all very important, and these are again executed under supervision and the guideline of OSAS. OSAS is nothing but occupational health and safety measures. So it is 18,001, which is again now revised to a higher number because of these COVID-19 situations. These HEPA filters can absorb 99.97% of particles at 0.3 microns. Then that is where we actually work on clean rooms. But even the same solutions we are giving to the hotel industry to create confidence in your guests. Because basically it is a trusted relationship what you have with your guests who comes and checks in regularly with you and understand what your hotel and what your industry is going to offer to them in the services. In addition, I can say to other hygiene activities, taking care of HVAC system to avoid any spread of this causing organisms is very important. Even retrofitting is also possible, like existing system to reduce disease, the spread of disease causing any organisms or and or any pathogens. So basically, as the HVAC industry, we've been hit badly, but we have what we have done is use the online benefits and looking into COVID-19 compliances and essentials and sanitization and air purification. We could still able to survive in this pandemic situation and helping the hotel industries to bounce back. Whoever has been opened and what has been happening, especially in the tourism and the hospitality. This is what could help out the hotel.
Right, right. Sure, Mr. Nadu. I was having some difficulty
Any
because
more in detail regarding this COVID-19 compliances, how we have done the purification and sanitization essentials? I'm open to answer your questions.
Sure. Thank you. There was some challenges at your end, I think, with the bandwidth issue. Therefore,
That's all from me,
uh,
Shrikant.
your voice was not coming very clear. Uh, but talking about one of the industry which actually turned around pretty quickly was the skilling industry. And Vivek, you have been in both. So would like to understand from you impact of COVID and some crystal ball gazing, a quick response on this.
Sure, sure. So I'll start with the small introduction of the entity I work for, Generation. Generation is a not-for-profit entity that works in the skilling space. We go across 27 different professions across the world. Generation is a global entity. In India, we are a not-for-profit entity. We work closely with NSDC and various other government entities, as well as with a lot of private employers, as well as companies, to help train and upskill their people. Specifically about, since this seminar is, the audience would largely be students, and since, um, the panel has shared a lot of information about specifics of the sector and how it will take some time to bounce back. Without delving too much into that, I'll probably talk a little bit about how things could shape up for the students and how are things looking up now. So obviously the hospitality industry is one of the badly hit industries. This is like in what is called economics, black swan event. This happens once in a few decades. It is unpredictable, and nobody can have a contingency plan around this. So whether people who are already in the hospitality industry, people who are planning to be in it, and like so many other industries also, like airlines and various others, predicting such a thing is difficult. However, what can be said with a lot of surety is that there'll be a bounce back. There's a lot of resilience, in India, in people. There've been various industries which have started to come back now. Our teams are continuously in touch with various employer partners that we work with, including hotels, including restaurants, including QSR entities, QSR being quick service restaurants. We see there is a little bit of a demand which started to come back. Obviously, it is a fraction of what it used to be till around, let's say, February or March, and it'll probably take anywhere from 6 to 9 months to get normal, to get back to what was once normal. But as students who are watching this webinar, I would advise the audience to take a longer view of things and to understand that the fundamentals of the industry, that in case you were looking forward to joining the hospitality industry or the hotel industry, or any allied industry, the basics remain the same. The industry has a lot of positives about it. It used to be one of the largest employers, like one of the panelists mentioned, and it offers a very long-term and steady career growth, especially for people who are willing to adapt and do well, and who have good people skills. From a skilling perspective, I think there would be more questions later, but primarily, I think students should equip themselves with skills that will hold them in good stead going forward. They should upskill themselves. They should probably go a little bit beyond the existing curriculum which they might already have in their courses, and look at learning things which might be more relevant, let's say a year or two from now. So while things will come back to normal, and there's no doubt about that, what can be said is very clearly is that things will change for the better. There'll be better safety features and amenities which hotels and hospitality companies will bring about their services, so as to keep people safe, right? I'll pause there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So keeping people safe, privacy and safety has probably become the biggest concern for hotel industry right now. So thank you for the first round of introduction and thoughts about the industry itself. So let's move on quickly, to the second part of it, which is, let me start again by asking you, Sarita Garu, what are the existing skill gaps in the hospitality industry, and how does the next 5 years look for in terms of employment for this industry? Satyagarul, you need.
Yeah, skill gaps. I think we did not find it difficult when we were hiring at all. What we did find difficult is if they were coming from other states, if they were coming from from Andhra side, or if they were coming from Orissa, or if the labor, I mean, if there are people who are coming not just for housekeeping staff, I'm talking about, or even labor who I'm talking even higher cadres. So whenever the families are back home, people wanted to go back. So actually, we did wanted to concentrate thinking of what, I mean, we did read in the paper a couple of times about different states wanting to bring it up, and Telangana government also wanting to be strong about hiring within the state. We thought it was a fabulous idea to do that, because then you're not displacing anybody. Even if you displace and get the best of talent to come here, it's going to be very short lived, and the people are going to go back because of their families, children, for whatever. I mean, they're having older people at home, and especially in this kind of pandemic case. But otherwise, I did think that the skill gap is maybe also when you have international clients and people coming down from abroad, how to, kind of handle with what they like to eat. And, when we did have banquets where the people knew what they were serving. I mean, like very minor small things like that, which could have been also done with further training. And these kind of things can also be upskilled after they joined our hotel, or any hotel industry, or any restaurant industry for that matter. I think when you do take and you do invest in bright I mean, students or children or whoever who come for jobs, I think, and they see, the whole thing is people have to be open to learning. I think when we talk and address students, I think the only thing, best advice I would like to give them is, or best input I would like to give them is, more than you equipping yourself with what you think you need to do, it's equipping yourself with what is in demand in the market, and fulfilling what the role which is required. See, I can study engineering, I can study law, I can study being a doctor and study medicine, but if there are enough number of all of those people there, I'm not going to have a place there. But if I study, if I'm going to be in the hospitality sector and I'm going to learn the finer skills, whether it is even, with the different, I mean, being like a chef, a minor chef, or somebody who's helping out a chef, or a front desk, or marketing, or communication, or even with the marketing, you need to have the talent of, when you make out all these ads, and when you're sending out all these circulars, what all is available. I mean, the different festivals which we have in the hotels, there are so many different areas in the hotel which just require the talent more than even like formal kind of learning. Even if they are open to learning when they come, I feel a lot of times I've seen, even when we are hiring, the people may not be highly educated, but I've seen the attitude of the people when they come. If the attitude is good, I think they can absolutely learn anything. And I've seen that we never had a problem with the attitude, because the people who did come and we've said, okay, we need this kind of a talent, they were all like really ready to learn. So that's what I've been feeling so bad, that we had to lay off so many people because of this pandemic. Such, the youngsters were so willing to learn and wanting to do so much, and then yet we had to let go of them. So my only message to the youngsters today, or the people who are coming out of their colleges today, is equip themselves to do what is required in the future, and have an open mind to constantly be learning. You can be at a job and you can learn to have a multi skill. You can learn and you can see from others, and you can learn about how to do a lot better. We are all not born with all skills and all talents. I think as you grow through and as you go through your life, you learn so many things from so many other people around you. So having the right peer group, interacting with the right wherever you're working, interacting with the right environment, and having the right attitude, having the good habits. I think all of that is a very, very good message. I think even for youngsters these days, I think socially they are, I mean, being pulled in a lot of different directions. And I would also like to, request them, appeal to them to have good habits. When you have a good routine, when you don't take up bad habits, it can be of any form of bad habit. I mean, it could be whether it's smoking, drinking. There's just so much of the evil, this thing which are available all over. And I would definitely request all the youngsters not to succumb to this and to come forward. And even if the times are bad and right now they're getting a lower pay, I mean, keeping themselves engaged and occupied and not just, being completely unemployed at home and saying, no, my education is too high for this and I can't take this on right now. But being engaged anywhere, doing something so that you can take home some money for your families, for yourself, keeping yourself engaged. I think being a busy mind is always, and an active mind is always much better than being idle. So my appeal to all the students who are on this webinar is, please keep yourself active in whatever and be open to learning. You can move from one career path into another. It's just your attitude and your willingness to work. And I'm sure all of you all will do a fantastic job. And I think the government is also putting such a big step forward to helping everybody coming out of colleges, schools. So, and I think the skill development also, which Shrikant Garu has taken on so seriously, and to do in this pandemic time, all these webinars, I think are really in the right direction. And for all of those who are on the webinar, I mean, it's a request for all of you all to stay away from all the bad social elements and bad social habits and move forward in the positive manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarita Garu. That was helpful. Of course, multitasking attitude. Now, apart from these two skills which Sarita Garu have already spoken about, Satyam, if you could help us, what else does the hospitality look at freshers? And also in terms of what are the growth potential? Since you head that function, I thought, let me ask you that question.
Okay. Before heading to that, answering to that question, yes. Why the hotel management students are so popular and actually will definitely have a job opportunities in future, because the only reason they have, like Satya also mentioned, I just wanted to make it a little more elaborative. The hotel management students are not just will get a knowledge of the technical and the theoretical skills, but also they will get to know about the behavioral attributes, good communication skills, grooming, presentability, the great communication and presentation skills, guest orientation, decision making, and the discipline and basic etiquettes. These are the main popular attributes which all the hotel management graduates are carrying. And then earlier, the job opportunity used to be restricted to the hotel management or else airlines. And getting a job in abroad was nearby a dream earlier, way back 30 years back when I started my career. So now the situation is very different, and then all industries are eyeing on the hotel management students. Why? Because they're having these kind of skills, and they all now are guest orientation, guest fashion, and then they know how to talk and what not to talk, and they know basic etiquettes, how to grab the business back, and they have minimum basic courtesies, how to deal with the situations, and how to have the right decisions in place. So these are the skills everyone have, and then that's the only reason the hotel management students are in a great demand. But due to the pandemic, it is actually taking a break now. And yes, if we ask me what is that basic attributes required for the no accord, we always believe in three aspects. One, the attitude towards yourself, attitudes towards your colleague, attitude towards your organization. Why attitude towards yourself? Yourself, that is, we have to love ourselves, we have to respect ourselves first thing, and they have to have the confidence on them, and they have to have the professionalism in them, and then they have to know what they do and where they're going. So that is a basic thing, that attitude towards them is very important, and an attitude towards the colleagues. They have to respect all the genders in the office, and they have to respect all the hierarchies in the office. So that is very important aspect of the second attitude, which we always talk about. The third attitude is our attitude toward the organization. They should not be working in the organization and then backbiting about the organization. They have to have the respect and then bonding, and they have to feel like that it's a family and it's a home away from home, and then they have to put in their wholehearted, skills and the knowledge into the organization. So all these things which we commonly we call it as an attitude, which is very important. And then second is communication. In hotel industry, hospital industry, everywhere, not only just hospitality, every industry now they are eyeing on people having a great communication skills. Why the communication skills are very important? And it is not communication skills are just English speaking and then writing skills. It is making the person understand what you wanted to say. It can be any language, it can be any barrier. Even people, we hire a deaf and dumb people, they will not have a communication, English communications, but still they get so much of get satisfaction score. Why? Because they know how to do it. The body language shows that, and then they make sure that the guests are understanding their body language. So, which I always prefer that communications is very important, whichever language it is. But of course, majority of the frontline team, they have to have the English communication and writing skills, because they have to sell themselves and they have to sell the property and they have to sell the their profession, and that is very important. So we call it as communications is very important, and the basic knowledge which we don't really focus much, because all hotels, and of course especially we have all infrastructure, we have well trained and L&D managers and then infrastructure for us to train all the skills what they wanted. But majoritarily we see only the attitude and then communication. Besides it, only one thing which they have to pass the test is psychometric test, which have the personality attributes they will show in the psychometric test, and they have to get through that. So these are the basic skills what we expect to the students to have, when we hire freshers.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on to you, Mr. Murthy, since you have been into the hotel industry for over 3 decades now, practically 3 decades, I wanted to understand from you how the hospitality sector has transformed, right? And what is the role that technology is playing, and in the future, how technology will shape it? And also, the question to you, part B would be, what are the special skills that you look at, apart from the skills that have already been discussed? What else do you look at when you recruit freshers?
All right. See, coming to your question number 1 regarding the technology, we all know what difference it has made in every sphere. I mean, hospitality industry is no exception. I go back to 1980s when I started my career in the hotel industry. Everything was manual. Everything, let us say, be it a check-in, check-out, let it be registrations, let it be inventory, billing, attendance, everything used to be manual, and it used to take a lot of time, a lot of manpower involved. Slowly things changed. Say in the late 80s, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, the bed and breakfast concept, at least in India, came much later. Earlier, it used to be all a la carte. There was something called door knobs, for breakfast, where people used to mention what they want and they used to hang it outside the door. And saying that at 6:30 they want the morning tea and 6:45 they want a continental breakfast. I mean, that used to take hell of a lot of time. A lot of people were required, especially in room service or be it in a restaurant, coffee shop, whatever. Now, slowly, the technology changed everything. For example, the check-in, check-out started in a DTS machine. The computers came much later. I'm talking about 80s when the DTS machine came. Okay, we were all very relieved, but still, the differences that made little later, the introduction of computers. Attendance, which earlier used to be manual, later on it became biometric. So things were very easy for the HR department, when it used to be known as personal department, to prepare the salary or to compute the leave, keep the leave records, everything. Then came the computer. There has to be one system, basically computer system, and billing started being made in the computers, which really gave a lot of relief to people. There were a lot of accuracy, of course, manipulation, which earlier manually used to be done immensely, came little bit less, and then of course came the software. the hotel management software. Then came the point of sale when the bills were made in the outlets. And then also everything additional to the point of sale, even the miscellaneous services which is provided in the hotels, be it a spa service, health club, gym, swimming pool, everything billing used to be in the software. So that brought in a lot of changes. It made things very easy. There used to be a lot of accuracy. The guest experience was much better. Check in, check out, of course, again, was everything through the computers. You know, just take a copy, photocopy of the details, and everything would be done in a very, very less time. When I think today, in 80s, when there used to be a group check-in in Oberoi's where I started my career, we used to deploy extra people when we used to know that tomorrow early morning or late midnight most of the international flights they come, depart and arrive at late midnight. So the check-in, check-out used to be too much at that time, including the crew members. So we used to deploy extra people. Today, even the Westin hotel in night shift would have 2 or 3 people maximum. So that could reduce a lot of people as well. Now, also with the computers, introduction of computers, the paperwork also got reduced to a large extent. Everything was automated, be it check-in, be it check-out. Then comes the energy saving. That also with the invention of the technology, lot of things, right from incandescent light, we switched over to CFL. Then of course sensors were placed in the toilets to bring down the consumption of the water. So there are a lot of differences that has made, lot of cost saving, and also a good experience for the guest. Then slowly, slowly after the computer came email, somewhere probably 94, 95. Now, it was initially the internet was 2G. Even to log in, it used to take about 4 or 5 minutes, and we were very happy about it because it was something new. And then slowly, slowly came BlackBerry. With the introduction of BlackBerry, things got changed. Then, of course, Nokia, which was the pioneers in the mobile industry, they thought they were the nirvanas. But then, probably when Apple's brought in smartphone, everything got changed. Everything got changed. Initially, people were very reluctant how to use that. How will somebody use? People were used to those numerical handling, but smartphone changed everything. And of course, then the digital technology, which of course came after the demonetization. Today, even if somebody is going for a walk and wants to buy a green coconut, he just pays by Google Pay or Paytm. So things have definitely changed, and technology has made life very easy. The guest experience is much better. Even we are all today having a meeting, a good example, from different states, and all of us are connected in one platform. I mean, whereas earlier it used to be all physical. So these are the main changes I can really think of. Of course, security has been a very important aspect in the hospitality industry. The CCTV, right from luggage and baggage scanner, the CCTV in the rooms. Today, as I said, I manage about 75 properties. I mean, I run my office from my mobile. I'm in one destination and see what is happening in the other hotel. So these are the things, the tremendous changes which has happened, and I don't think it's going to stop. There are a lot many more things which is going to come, which is going to be very easy for people to work, and also people have to learn, so people get little tech savvy. So these are the things I think the changes that have been made in the last 30 years or 25 years. Now, coming to the question number two, what you had asked me, most of the traits were really has already been spelled out by my colleague. There's one more thing which I really looked into it when I hired a fresher in the hospitality industry. And I think that is very, very important. I'm sure my colleagues will agree, is the willingness to serve. In the service industry, one should have passion to serve. That's very, very important. We all spoke about other quality, communication skills, presentability, good health, good physical outlook is something very, very important. And of course, interpersonal skills, willingness to serve, ability to work under pressure, and to work during odd working hours. These are the things we try to inculcate in the freshers. We try to look for it. To just sum it up in short, let me tell you, 25 years back, we used to hire skill and train attitude. Today, the time has changed. We hire attitude and train the skills. This is what I
Fantastic. Fantastic. Good point made. Great. So, higher attitude and skills. So, on that point, Vivek, let me move on to you. Right? What are the different entry points for entering into this sector itself, into hospitality sector, especially for freshers? And how will this sector become attractive to freshers?
Okay, sure. So I think I'll take on from where Mr. Murthy left, and his very comprehensive answer. Hospitality per se is like a wide gamut of industries, if I may use the word. Hotels and restaurants are part of it, but overall hospitality obviously includes event planning, theme parks, cruise lines, transportation and lodging, the Airbnbs of the world today, and it keeps expanding. Obviously now with the COVID coming in, and with very heightened increase on I would take too much of sense right now, but these are things that which were there, let's say around 5 years ago, and they'll stay. Most of them will bounce back or come back after some time. So, including AV, including maritime, and other formats of tourism. So, a person who wants to make his or her career in the hospitality industry needs some basic qualities, some of which the analysts have already spoken of. It's a very welcoming industry in the sense that it welcomes talents of all ages and all kinds of experiences. Even people who worked in other industries are usually welcomed within hotels, even, and hospitality industry per se. So for ease of understanding, it can be broken down into two categories. One is entry points for graduates, and then for those who are, let's say, 12th pass, or who've completed their school but not completed their graduation. Let's put it that way. Typically for the graduates, there are options within hotels which are management trainees and operations trainees, and in various categories, including F&B service, or housekeeping, or front office. And at the entry level, there are basic entry level in each of the streams, including in hotels particularly stewards, assistant cooks, front office executives, housekeeping executives, and staff departments, specialized departments. In the hotels themselves, we see now a huge kind of variety, including there are budget hotels, there are the OYOs of the world, there are Airbnbs, bed and breakfast properties. So there's a huge variety of the kind of hotels which are there now, and there are hotel entrepreneurs who are coming up now. There are people who work for some time in the hotels industry, and would probably want to start a restaurant, a smaller one maybe. Beyond hotels, there are obviously career opportunities within airlines and ships. There are event management companies which also broadly fall into the hospitality industry. So, I mean, it's a very large industry which keeps changing its shape and form, but largely there are common elements to it, some of which we discussed already. As far as attractiveness is concerned, I think it's very high on the so-called glamour quotient. The typical example that people usually take to kind of explain this, and I think that's a good analogy to share, is that if you look at a swan, a swan or a duck is, when you look at it, it's a very beautiful creature, floats in the water. That's how a hotel would look to somebody who's coming as a guest. When you are on the inside, when you're a staff member, you would also see the underbelly and the legs and the feet of a swan, which are not very attractive. So that's true of any industry. So having said that, it has a very people-centric focus, and it has a very fast-track career. For people who are performers, people rise very fast. I mean, not only people who've done their graduation degrees and diplomas. In the skilling world, we see polished people who have the right attitude, and people who speak well. They've risen in 5-star hotels also. without graduation, or sometimes completing their graduation or their formal graduation during the course of their hotel career. The remuneration is decent and matches service sectors. It, the Obviously it is commensurate to skills and capability to deliver, and the working conditions obviously are very decent. So I think these are some of the things that make it a very attractive sector. There is always this added bonus of one launching into his or her own venture. So entrepreneurship is something which is always an option for somebody who's been in hospitality for some time. In terms of the skill sets, I think we've discussed some of that, and I think rightly mentioned, it needs to be good communication skills, people skills, ability to interact, ability to serve, be flexible about timings. There are people today, Generation Z, Gen Z as they're called, some of them would not want to work beyond certain hours. So, a certain level of flexibility is required to work or to succeed in the hospitality industry. I would add to that things like comfort with technology and comfort with change. So very soon we'll have zero contact or contactless hoteliering or contactless check-ins. They're already there in a lot of properties, and this will see an increase going forward. So for somebody who's already there, and as one of the panelists mentioned, that the kind of change which used to happen, let's say in 10 years or maybe a decade, till around a few years back, we'll see those changes every 2 years or every 6 months or every 1 year now. So I think that ability to adapt and prioritize is also very important.
Great. Thanks, Vivek. Wonderful inputs, and of course, adaptability, agility, and I think are again some of the key. So, Ramya, let me move on to you next. And though we are talking about hospitality industry as such, but there's a vertical that you are from, which is the retail in hospitality, right? So, how is it different from the other hospitality sectors, etc., and what kind of skills do you specifically look at?
See, when it comes to us, again, in the retail sector, there is a back-end team and there is a front-end team.
Right.
So one that we sit, like I come from the corporate office, and while we have franchisee partners who have their staff in the cafes. So back here from the corporate office, we have had to let go of a lot of departments that usually were a part of us, like there was supply chain and things like that, operational wise, which didn't really matter to us because they could be handled by the rest of the team that was already there. But given again, when we talk about how it's been creating an imbalance, or has there been an imbalance between having them or not, it's not really affected much. But career-wise, I think we have limited ourselves to very little crew for the management by itself within the corporate space, and also at the franchisee level, we have limited the a number of staff as such. So you won't find too many kitchen staffs and dining staff as such. We have combined them both together, given it's only online orders and stuff like that now, because cafes are not going to go back to normal state like they were usually, because restaurants were popular only when there were social gatherings, right? You go out to a restaurant to eat only when you had to, get together for social gathering, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon right now. Yeah, apart from that, did you want me to specifically talk about anything else?
Yes, in retail, what are the skills when you're looking at recruitment, maybe a year down the line or whatever it is, right? What are the specific skills that you will look at, particularly from the retail hospitality side?
Right. So at the moment, what we are looking at is somebody who can be tech savvy. Everything has happened after the COVID has been a digital transformation. Everything that we were doing has been digitalized. Like even from onboarding a new franchisee partner with us and having the trainers to train them how to make the smoothies, or train how to run a cafe to the new franchisee partners. Everything has been moved to a digitalized sector. Everything is happening live. So I think the major skill set is somebody who is coming from a hotel management background as well. They have to be embedded with the knowledge of online technicalities given the present situation, and also be open to learn new things at the same time. So having a mind space to learn and adapt to what is happening currently is something that I think a lot of freshers these days need to be open to, because in between we had a couple of interview sessions for freshers onboarding, and during the interview session itself they were very specific about what they had studied and how they wanted to stick to only that. They were not willing to go out and merge two job roles together and adapt to it. So that is something I think they need to be open to, being open to adapting to whatever requirements are as per the current situation, molding into and adapting. Apart from that, yes, I think digital is the way right now, and that is something everybody really need to get used to.
Great. Thank you. Now, moving on to you, Naidu Garu. I hope you are able to hear us. Probably this time, my humble submission to you would be, in case your voice is breaking, I will request you to switch off your camera so that at least we can hear you out.
That should be really good.
Yeah. My question to you is, now if you look at the hotel itself, right from when someone enters the hotel, there is a security, and from the security check you come up, there is again a metal detector, and from metal detector now there is a temperature check and so on and so forth. So the installation maintenance is such a huge industry, and it's probably, as you rightly said, if the environment is not comfortable, then people would not check in. So what is the demand of freshers in this industry, and what are the specific technologies that students should learn today to become part of this subsector of hospitality and also HVAC industry per se itself?
Especially if students has to really look into the hotel industry applications, they should have a well versed with HVAC. HVAC is like heat, ventilation, air conditioning. Also should have knowledge of clean air and air washes, because hotel industry requires a lot of fresh air apart from the air conditioning. A lot of fresh air is also mandatory. So students have to emphasize, they have to focus, especially when it comes to the applications of the hotel or hospitality industry. Fresh air is an important thing which the design. I'm audible, sir?
Yeah, still there is slight disturbance,
Think my voice.
but much better than last time.
Hello.
Yeah, we are able to hear you, but much better than last time. Still, there is a slight disturbance, but much better.
So the
Please carry
fresher
on.
plays like takes a lot of importance in this, especially when it comes to the hospitality industries. So during the design itself, the student or the applicant itself has to take care what could be the heat load which demands a fresh air. So until unless the fresh air is not designed properly, there cannot be, the air changes per hour, what as we call in our terms, that has to be properly designed. The student should have about it. The internet has to have knowledge about it. The maintenance people in the hotel industry have to have knowledge about how the air cycles have been changed every 1 hour, what are the air changes which are happening, and, and how the filters are going to be there. Like, what are they using HEPA filters, or what how much of particles for micron they are be able to remove it. And we can either you do it with an automation system or you do it without an automation system. All these knowledge is most Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Naidu, we lost you in between.
I have a connectivity.
Okay, would you like
Am I
to add
clear, sir?
anything else
Hello.
apart from what you said, Mr. Naidu? Or carry
Yeah,
on?
I'm sorry. I mean, my connections are very unstable.
Yeah, we understand. No problems at all. Okay, so thank you for your comment. And of course, probably you would require people to understand and about aviation technology, the filters, etc., and everything else, which will be quite important. And given condition of COVID, right, takes much more precedence than others. We have a few questions that have come up from some of the students, so I'll urge the students that whatever are your questions, please put it in the question box so that our esteemed panelists can answer it. I will start with the first question from Ajay, and this is open to anyone who would like to answer it. Do commerce graduates have a job in hotel industry? Do we have to do some special certifications for it? Who would like to go for it, please? Anyone from the hotel? Yeah, Sarita
Yeah.
Garu, please.
Yeah, see, we are right now, like we said, the hospitality sector is a little low, and I mean, we would not be taking right now. But if they're definitely, if there is somebody who's, like I had mentioned, having the right attitude and wants to go up the ladder and wants to start off, we are 100% open. I mean, after a year, I think if the whole industry is turning around, we would definitely be wanting to take again, and we would like to encourage all students, even interns, we would definitely like to take, and as long as the student is wanting to learn and grow and move forward, 100%.
Okay. Mr.
If I
Murthy,
may add,
yeah, please.
yeah, I'd like to add. What I want to say, am I audible?
Yes, but there is some echo, so I'll request everyone to keep their mics closed, please. Yeah, please carry on, Mr. Murthy.
See, in the hotel, there are many departments. There is an accounts department as well. And the hotel itself is a specialization. So somebody who has done can also get into hotel accounting, and it's a specialization and the opportunities are immense. You have a financial controller, you have a group financial controller, big groups. So I think, yes, one can always do as long as he has the other qualities, which we have already discussed.
Right. Vivek, would you like to add anything to that? Commerce graduates?
Yeah, sure. So I think the people from the industry have spoken. I'll just add quickly that typically we've seen that in non-specialized roles like front office and uh, guest relations, graduates from any stream are welcome, and they need those basic qualities, including ability to learn and ability to interact well with guests. I think insofar as hotels are concerned, those opportunities will remain for somebody with those right basics. Beyond hotels, if one looks at event management or restaurants, there are always in client customer interaction areas where people from any stream, including commerce, would do well.
Moving on to the next question, which is by Sangeeta. Is it mandatory to be a hotel management graduate to get in hospitality sector? I think we have answered this, but in case, Satyam Garu, if you would like to add something to it.
Yeah. Yes, not really. There are certain departments wherein we hire from different streams. There are certain departments where we focus more on having the hotel management graduates, like front office, F&B department, production department, and the housekeeping. But otherwise, other departments like finance, HR, sales and marketing, the engineering department, that can come forward from any streams. That is not a big issue. Even production department, 50% of the production team, the kitchen team are not really from the hotel management background. They are all from people with this basic 10th or maybe intermediate and degree, and they, out of the experience, they come and then they work with us. So not really that everybody have to have from the management background. They can be from any stream.
Great. Anil asks, what courses are available for event management? Vivek, would you go for it?
So I'll attempt an answer. I don't have the exact names of the institutes, and maybe we could get back to the student. But basically, there would be 1 year certificate or diploma courses, 1 to 2 year ones, which would be available. They're usually part of various universities or colleges, and I guess since largely this would be a Telangana-based audience, probably there would be a lot of event management courses available within Hyderabad and in other bigger cities also. So, a basic web search on some of the portals would give the student the answer.
Sure. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Suresh is saying, is entrepreneurship a good option in hospitality? What are the best areas in hospitality for entrepreneurship? So, who will go for this?
Yeah.
Shweta Garu, yes, of course.
Yeah, so suppose you are in a purchases department and you have to buy, I'm the supplies for the hotel, and it's in you need obviously a stock register. We need to know, we have to float tenders in when you're buying and selling, when you're buying so many things for the hotel, whether it is like dairy products, whether it's meats, whether it is cheese, whether it's vegetables, flour, so many things. So they're calling for tenders, and somebody who knows that at the end of the day the numbers have to end up making a profit, all the expenditure when it's booked. An entrepreneur would be somebody who could see all the expenditures which add up and the revenues which come in, who can actually see that something makes profit and which is good, I think. And not just going even cost price. A good entrepreneur, would also know that it's even quality, because at the end of the day just getting the cheapest is not the important thing. Even having a good quality is important. And yeah, I think as actually hospitality is a good sector. For a person who's like willing to want to move forward and want to try different things, who have a good that ability to learn, having a good skill in reasonably good skill even in computers, because now like everything is being done on computers, like the other panelists had even shared. I think all these skills go well together in shaping up a bright future for any student who's coming out of college and wants to move forward. Thank you.
Else would like to add to it?
I can add.
Sure.
So in terms of entrepreneurship, there are so many examples. Most of the bigger hotel chains have been started by first generation entrepreneurs, including Oberoi's. Today, Ritesh Agarwal of OYO is considered one of the pioneering entrepreneurs, in terms of today's ecosystem as well as hospitality world. Speaking from a more conventional perspective, there are smaller entrepreneurs who start out with an individual outlet, open a restaurant or open a restaurant chain, and then it runs well, and they are able to franchise it and open so many branches. We have numerous examples like that. For example, there's a chain called Bao Momo, which was started by a young set of entrepreneurs. So there are these numerous examples. Typically, what is advised is to get some skill sets handy before launching entrepreneurship. For example, further, Mr. Agarwal, who started OYO, did his own survey or recce of hotels for around 3-4 years before he launched into forming a portal. So whatever you want to do, you should be pretty good at it. So if you want to open a restaurant, you should probably work in the industry for a few years and then branch out into your own.
Agreed completely. In fact,
I want to add to that. So
yeah,
I think I would want to add to what Vivek has just said. I think it's very important, when you're part of something, then you understand what are the challenges that you face. So when you're working somewhere and you start right from the bottom, you do understand at every level where the challenges are. So when eventually they become an entrepreneur on their own and they want to start first a restaurant or a hotel or a chain of hotels, there is no end and there's no limit to anybody's dream and hard work. And I always feel hard work is always rewarded. So I think being part of a system itself teaches you how you can actually beat the system, how you can make it work. So I think, first starting off in whichever sector interests you, and then learning the nuances of that and going up step by step, I think actually would help. So I think, adding to what Vivek rightly did say, I think that's the right way for them to go.
absolutely. So, yeah, only the person who wears the shoe knows where it hurts the most. You're absolutely right. So, learning happens that way. So, and it's important as said, go through the various departments so that you understand that thing in totality, and that's where it could help. Okay. Nasreen has a question. I have completed my hotel management and I'm more fear on my there is opportunity outside. Can you help providing an internship like things? I think what she means is, because of the current situation, she's a hotel management. She's completed the hotel management course, but she wants to know in case there are some internship opportunities or something that she can take up
Where? In India or abroad? It's not clear.
here itself in India.
I think there are opportunities. Once the situation is better, yes, she can always do internship in any of the hotels.
Right, right. And
No, I could
yeah,
just say something here that there could be some hotels. If there are, if they're trying to cut down costs, they may look at somebody at hiring, talent which is new talent and which is going to come and who can learn also while on the job, and something which does not require, too much of experience and too much of skill, but something which can be substituted for somebody who's just starting off. So, and like an intern. So the pay scale also, if hotels and restaurants are going through the downturn where they're not able to
Save money.
manage so many expenditure and they want to cut down, they may look at it. So it just depends upon, her approaching wherever she feels there are vacancies. If there is any kind of opportunity anywhere, she does see an ad, or she can always reply saying that I'm willing to learn, or it's just a suggestion.
right, right. No, absolutely. And I think that is the thing. And in fact, we have been running these webinars all across industries. And one of the clear thing that is coming out is people are also looking at interns instead of full-time jobs, because now that's the new trend which is happening. And in fact, if you look at the new education policy, apprenticeship is now supposed to be part of every degree program. So definitely, there are plenty of opportunities.
or any possible.
Rakesh is asking, HVAC maintenance, is it a full-time job, and would a person be employed by the hotel? So, Mr. Naidu, would you start and then
Yeah.
we can get the hoteliers to comment on it?
HVAC especially for a hotel management is a full-time job. If most of these hoteliers, they employ maintenance engineers who also have a knowledge about the engineering part of the air conditioning. Basically, the HVAC engineers has got a lot of opportunities especially in the hotel industry. There is also possibility where the companies, like the manufacturing companies, also employ maintenance engineers depending on the contracts how they get from the hotel industry. So HVAC opportunity for hotel industry is a very huge. You can pursue on it.
Absolutely. Any of the hoteliers would like to mention, talk about this? You're on mute, Murthy sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, the potential is there. You see, the maintenance department, engineering and maintenance is a department where you have a pool of talents. You have HVAC, you have electrical, you have plumbers, you have carpenters, and so on. So there is a potential, there's no doubt about it. One starts as a HVAC technician, and then probably he learns the other streams as well.
Yeah, if I can add over here, the hospitality or any hotel goes through a lot of wear and tear when they get a lot of customers. So there's constant need for repair, maintenance, upgradation,
Absolutely.
renovation, and definitely having good people in HVAC who understand and who can be as a team on site in the hotel. Because and a lot of people prefer a lot of hotels prefer keeping the same team in place because they know what has been done in the last few years or last one decade also, and they don't want to keep hiring new people in HVAC because this is all internal. See, what is in the front office you can always keep changing, but what is internal inside the building itself, you don't want to get new people all the time who don't know what was replaced when, how it was done, or whatever. So HVAC is a good sector because with the hospitality sector, you need to have all of these functioning well for a good air conditioning system, for hot water, for the boilers to be working, for the BG sets to be working, for all of that. So yes, it is a good sector.
No, I absolutely agree with it. In fact, I know some of people who have risen through the ranks and even become the chief engineers for multiple hotels, and so on and so forth. So definitely that's a huge sector. And now with a lot of technology coming into this entire thing, I think the more focus will be on engineering plus tech together for HVAC also moving ahead. Um, Shruti is, sorry, not Shruti. Vivek is asking, I want a career as a hotel manager. Where to start? I guess the front office, but I'll have the experts answer it.
I think in the hotel industry, maybe the 2 tier and 3 tier cities right now probably may start faster. Maybe 3 star and 4 star will probably do more better now. I'm not sure because I don't know in right now in where the hotspots where the cities are where the pandemic is and the cases are really high right now. No, but I think given a couple of months, everything can't look so. I mean, dismal for very long. I'm sure people will have to start traveling soon. So yes, I think he just needs to put in his resume and start looking wherever and do mention everything in his application that's saying that he's willing to learn and be on the job and he's having the right attitude and right skill set. I think that's important.
Right. Satyam, would you like to add to it?
Sorry, I have some network issue. Can you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you, but that's all right. Let's continue with you answering this question. How can someone become a hotel manager? Where should the person start?
Okay. If you ask me, right, let me start with the generations. Like earlier, we used to have a traditionalist, and then next generation is the baby boomers, the next generation Gen X and Gen Y. And we are dealing now in the hotel industry. Traditionalist already retired and then left. Now the head of the management level that we have a baby boomers and then Gen X and then Gen Ys. So next generation is to be Gen Z, which is boom, which they're going to come near soon. Already they actually in the college. So here the change in management, I feel it is very important, which is very much important. So the Gen X or baby boomers cannot act as a baby boomers of what they have learned way back 20, 30 years back. They have to have the new technology in place and the new thought process in place, and they have to know how to deal with the new generation, Gen Y or a Gen Z. So the every now and then the guest expectations and employee expectations are changing. Way back, we used to talk about a guest satisfaction. Now in all and all, now we are thinking of the guest delight. Earlier we used to serve tea or coffee probably in 20 minutes. Now we have to serve in 10 minutes. And even if it is a standard says if it is 20 minutes, we cannot serve in 20 minutes. So that those are the changes we have. And then weekly offs earlier we never thought that hotels we give about 8 weekly offs. Now we are giving 8 weekly offs. We thought it was never it is going to happen. And working hours never was in a picture that we will work less than 10 hours. In our hotel, we work only 9 hours, not more than that, maximum 9.5 hours. So these are the changes we make. Definitely, yes. The growth level for the employees are at a higher stage. For the managers, if they have to grow, I travel a lot. I've been to US, I've been to Bangkok and Dubai, Singapore, and many more countries. Wherever he did this, and then as an associate with us, now in 7 years or 10 years after, I could see them in as a hotel manager or the directors and the general managers. So way back, the growth aspect was for about when we started our career, it used to be 20 years for a person to become a director or a head of the department. Now it reduced to 10 years. By 10 years, they have to have the position of the head of the department in place. Otherwise, they feel that they are saturated. So in the current scenario, the new generation, they have very fast growth in place, and everybody has to. For example, if I have started 24 years back after completing my BCom. There was a question like after completing commerce, can we join the hotel industry? I joined as a front office cashier way back in 1995 as a front office cashier, and I've been to all operations department, and I've chosen HR as my specialization and working for last almost 16 years as a HR specialist. And then now I have a lot of programs in Accor like ALP Supervisory Development Program, IELP from assistant manager to head of the department, LDAP from HODs to directors, and IHMP from directors to the general managers, and GM Pass from directors to become a general manager. So all these facilities we have in Accor for employee to grow up the ladder and then become a general managers or the hotel managers. I being a non-hotelier, not hotelier meaning I did not do my hotel management graduation, but I can apply for a IHMP or a GM Pass, and it takes two years course, 1.5 year course, and then I become a general manager for any Accor brands in Accor. So 90% of the general managers are internally developed of 52 hotels, and even across globally, 90% of the general managers are internal development. They started as an associate and then become a general managers. We have a general manager driver who become a director of revenue. We have a KST manager, now he is a F&B director. We have a bellboy who become a general manager in Accor. So these are the growth aspects. If you see, definitely yes, there is no barriers for a person to become to a next level or a hotel manager, and the kind of skill and knowledge like task initiative by the Telangana government and Srikanth Garu, very thankful for you. Definitely people will have an aspiration. They will understand more about the industry. They will understand the requirement of the hoteliers, and they can walk towards that, and then whatever the skill set required, and they can acquire it, and then they will be ready for the industry in future. And definitely yes, these kind of programs or these kind of initiatives will help the new generation and be it a commerce, be it a MBA, be it a engineering schools, or the hotel management schools will have this kind of initiative. And definitely yes, it will be helpful for them to become a hotel managers in future. And definitely, yes, this kind of programs or this kind of initiatives will help the new generation and be it a commerce, be it a MBA, be it a engineering schools, or the hotel management schools.
Okay, great. Thanks. So the last question from the students, and probably we are just about in time, is from Naresh. And Naresh is saying, from my second year onwards, me and my friends started an event management company. But after COVID, our business has become dull. Any idea how you can, any idea or to improve our business? Any suggestions? I think this particular thing is affecting the entire industry itself, and not only this industry but all the industries. But the best thing is that today skill yourself for the future, and that is what is important. And on this note, probably I would like to ask a question to all my panelists, which is more of a fire question round. A guru mantra, 3 words that help you stay focused, especially when you have to let so many people go and everything else, and energized during this period. So let me go around the table again, and let me start by asking you, Sarita Garu, if you could tell us, and then Mr. Murthy, and then we will do that way.
For me, yeah, one thing which just came to mind when you said it's a fire round, I thought that what doesn't break you makes you. And so I feel this is like the toughest stage. And now, when you're going to be absolutely trying to run as lean as possible, this is probably going to teach you to start learning to run a more tighter kind of an environment and a tighter kind of a run company. So I think when the times turn and become better, it'll help you reap more profits. So I'm looking obviously forward more positively. You can't keep only thinking that it's worse and it's going to get worse. You have to have hope at the end of the day. So I think it's teaching us how to run a tighter ship. That's what I think.
Great. Murthy sir?
I would say be optimistic, don't lose hope, think out of the box. Very simple.
Fantastic. Okay, let me move on to you, Satan.
If it's a fire round, then only 3 things if I have to say. We have to be very strong now, and we have to have a patience, and then we have to be very focused. It is not normal like the way we used to handle the things. Now we have to handle the things in a very different way, and we have to be very focused to get the business back, and then to be normal.
Ramya?
Sir, Ramya had some network issue. She had to log out.
Okay, so we move on to Mr. Naidu then. Mr. Naidu, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Can you repeat the question? What is you asked for?
So, a quick fire round, 3 words which helps you remain focused and energized during this period.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
the
which should be a guru
pandemic,
mantra to the students.
in pandemic, like me being into a HVAC industry, like, being to HVAC, the thing where, mostly the season is a dependable business for us. So we have not panicked. So it is, we had the right mantra, like to adopt the technology. In fact, COVID-19, the pandemic situation has helped us to improvise and evolve ourselves to a better digital platform, and where we could help a lot of our clients and customers to get their maintenance done properly. In simple words, I can say, just don't cry on fixing your tire on a flat tire. Just have the right tools to fix it, or just change it and keep moving forward. Pandemic has taught us very good lessons, how to evolve and how to handle a crisis management. And definitely, there are many more months to come ahead and years ahead where you will definitely bounce back.
Fantastic. Vivek, you get the last word.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll take a quote from a very famous leader, Winston Churchill. He was a wartime prime minister. This quote is getting pretty popular these days in a lot of industries. The quote is that never let a good crisis go to waste.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense for students. These are unprecedented times. Equip yourself, make yourself more resilient, gain more skills. This is the worst. This is the like the darkest time before the sunrise comes up again. So things will be much better going forward.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Esteemed panelists, it has been wonderful. I enjoyed our discussions, and really, thank you very much for bringing out all those various salient points and features about the hospitality industry itself. And of course, as all of you said, there is a silver lining on the dark cloud. let's use this opportunity well to skill ourselves to get the resilience that this industry would require in the future, because once the industry comes up again, I think it'll be rising of the phoenix itself, and really this industry is something which would support a lot of other industries. So once again, Sarita Garu, Murthy Saab, Vivek, Ramya, Naidu Garu, thank you very much. And of course, Satyam Garu, thank you very much for being part of this panel today. And over to you, Shruti.
Right, so thank you to all the panelists. So there is one question that a lot of students are asking. Probably you can take it, Shrikant sir. It says, will TASK offer some trainings in the hotel management sector since the industry is going to revive in a few months? Do you have something to say to that, sir?
Okay, sure. So very interesting question. And of course, as we said, any industry where youth can get jobs, TASK definitely will provide skills on it. And in fact, as mentioned by Vivek, and while introducing him, we spoke about Telangana, because before COVID started, we were about to launch a program, in Warangal on hospitality itself. So definitely, students can look forward to many such courses, many such opportunities across industries. Wherever our youth of Telangana can get a job, definitely TASK would be helping them get one.
Thank you, sir. I think that answers the question of a lot of students. So as finishing remarks, I'd like to thank everybody, all the students, all the principals, training and placement officers, the panelists especially, for being there. I think we have a kind of common consensus which says right now the industry is definitely bad. It's going to take a few months for it to revive. But then this being such a major sector, the revival is definitely going to happen. So probably students who are interested in finding jobs in the hospitality sector, this kind of downtime can be used for skilling yourself in specific areas that can get you jobs in the hospitality sector. I think most of the experts, panelists today also emphasized on the ability of the students to multitask. So since we have a downtime now, this is, I think, the right time for students to skill themselves in multiple areas so that they look like a very good value addition to the industry. So I think a lot of points came up about how to skill yourself, what are the skill gaps, what is the industry looking at, and I'm sure the students will take these to improve themselves and find a job in that career. Thank you so much, everybody. We're coming
Okay,
to
before you close, I have a point. I would just like to request you to tell the students, educate the students or the principals, like, we conduct workshops on MEP. Like, if any of the students would be interested to have a knowledge and focus on total mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, we are free to offer them a workshop. They can get in touch with us.
Sure, so that's fantastic. I think we can take that forward with the permission
Yeah,
of
you can take that forward. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So we're coming to you again next Thursday, 3 to 5. The topic, the industry we are handling next week is the AVGC industry. That's the animation, visual effects, gaming, and comics, which is going great guns these days. So looking forward to meeting you next Thursday. Until then, thank you very much, and we're grateful to everybody who attended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the esteemed panel.